Welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Chris McGee, Big Game, James Worthy, and Robert Ory. The Lakers unable to clinch in Houston. The young Rockets flat out outplayed the Lakers tonight. Just played a much better game. The defense was suffocating. Lakers looked tired. They turned the ball over 24 times. That turned into 30 points. Rockets had 23 fast break points, and they shot the ball much better tonight. They were 12 of 29 from three, and plus 21 in that category, James.
Yeah, you're talking about a desperate young Houston team that didn't want to, get swept at home. You knew they were going to come out with energy and effort, and they did. Without KD, a bunch of young players still with energy, creating 24 turnovers, Geeter, 17 steals, they had. They shot, I believe, the ball pretty good from the field as well. Got some high percentage shots. And the Lakers just didn't have the fight tonight. When you turn the ball over and giving up extra possessions, it's going to be hard to put a young, energetic team together. It's a tough task to finish out, a 3-0 lead and try to go 4-0. So now they get to come home and, redeem themselves and try to finish in Game 5.
Yeah, one team was playing downhill, one team was playing uphill. And when you're playing uphill, like the Lakers, where you got a lot of energy and experience, and you turn the ball over, that makes that boulder come back down you even more. And I think one thing about a young team like this, they don't want to get embarrassed. So they came out with a lot of energy and life. As you see, Reed Sheppard finally stepped up for the Rockets, and it was just one of those nights where once the Lakers, I talked about this before, once the Lakers got punched, they just didn't know how to get out of the way. They just kept getting punched. It's almost like Thriller Manila. Remember how they had it? Just kept hitting them like that. And you just got to get out of the way. And hopefully, this is a wake-up call, and Lakers understand now you got to come home and take care of business, because you don't want this thing to go any longer, because confidence, like I mentioned earlier, is the biggest thing when it comes to playing basketball. All
right, James, let's start with the Laker turnovers. 24 turnovers for 30 points. 8 of those came in the first quarter, and that really set the tone for this game. You could see the Rockets gaining momentum. The crowd was into it, and the young Rockets started to believe. You could call it tired legs coming off that emotional win 48 hours prior, guys playing a lot of minutes, or you can credit that Rocket defense, or a little bit of both. But the Rockets were feeling it tonight, and it was a tough night all around, though, for the Lakers, especially handing the ball.
I think it was a collaboration of, a few things, Geeta. The Lakers have been very successful. Going up 3-0, I'm not sure if they expected that with or without KD. They did, expend a lot of energy doing so. But also the Rockets, a young team without KD, trying to prove that they can win at home, or they can compete. Like I said, in Game 2, they had, a lot of offensive rebounds. Game 3, they had, I think, 18 offensive rebounds. Today, it was the Lakers turnovers. So they're capable of forcing you to play a certain way, and they'll take advantage of extra possessions. They'll take advantage of turning the ball over by, getting some easy buckets on the other end. And they showed tonight that they'll fight. So, and they didn't want to get swept. So the Lakers are going to have to, have their antennas up, regain that, that toughness that they had in the first 3 games, and really finish well at home. Don't give them that head start. They gave them a head start tonight with those early 8 turnovers. It's like you're in a race. You got like a big head start, and they never could, redeem themselves.
Rob, I looked at halftime. The Lakers had 14 turnovers, and they were down 9. They only scored 47 points, so they were struggling. But they were only down 9. So we all felt coming out in that third quarter, we would know pretty quickly. If this is a close game and the Lakers can get it down the stretch, we all felt they're going to win this game. Rockets, however, 34-18 in that third.
Yeah, 34-18, and you look, and when you talk about the Lakers' offense, you see where you got Rui scoring, you have LaRavia scoring, you have Connect scoring. But when it's like a steady diet of 8, and I'm like, oh, even though I picked him as my pick, I'm like, if y'all going to 8, it's almost like y'all not running your offense like you normally do. And that's when I was like, okay, they're just trying to get through this game. And sometimes when you just try to get through a game, you just want to get home, and you want to try to end it at home. But I just thought the energy was kind of subpar. I just thought, the lack of concentration. To me, if you go down the list, Ayton and Marcus Smart, they came out to play. everybody else was kind of in neutral and cruise control. But, you know, that's what happens sometimes when you get really complacent. We talk about that when you get up, you get the fat cat syndrome. You want to sit back like, oh, we got this thing. KD's not playing. Oh, we got this thing. Yeah. But you forgot, Sengun, former All-Star, you know, Ahmed, one of the most athletic guys in the NBA, and they came out and they shot the lights out. So, you know, hopefully, you know, this is a slap in the face to wake the Lakers up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when you go up 3-0 on somebody, it's something that internally, automatically, you're not even conscious of it all the time. It just lets you decompress and take a deep breath. And sometimes you don't even know you're losing some of that fight, and that's why it's so hard to try to, you know, get up for that fourth game. I think the Lakers were guilty of that tonight. It wasn't. I think they were trying to win, but I think they just had that. We're up 3-0. We got 2 more games at home. We can finish it off. Sometimes you get that. It's dangerous, but sometimes it sets in.
Before we get to some of the chippiness, I do want to credit the Rockets offense, too. All 5 guys, all 5 starters in double figures. You saw them the first 2 games really struggle. They didn't get to 100 points. They got to 108 in Game 3. So they were only averaging 100 points per game through the first 3. But that was a much different story tonight, Rob. It was early with Sengun playing a little bully ball, just lowering his shoulder. And then it was Amen Thompson. Reed Shepard had 4 threes. Aaron Holiday off the bench, 3 threes. So a much better offensive game for the Rockets.
If you look at the last game, this is the same pattern that the Rockets had. The starters all had double figures. We talked about that. When you don't have a dynamic player like a KD in the lineup, you depend on one another a little bit more. And the Rockets have guys that can score. The Rockets have guys that like to get to the hole, and that's how they play their game. They put the pressure on you defensively, and they try to get to the hole, to try to get to the free throw line. They shot, 31 free throws a night, made 25. And that's one of the things that this team does, because they know if their jumper's not falling, it's a wrap. And they only really have one consistent jump shooter, and that's Reed Shepard. He finally showed up tonight without KD being in the game. And when you down like that, you play with desperation, and you put your head down. And once you start getting to the basket and see one going in, that's when those jumpers get easy.
And we had this breakdown the other night when Danny was here. I mean, when KD is in the game, and the Lakers have beaten the Rockets the last 3 times they've played, when KD has been in there, is, you know, he has the ball the majority of the time. So the Lakers play a certain defense around him, and a lot of guys are kind of standing around waiting to see what he's going to do. This is the first time a Rockets team in the playoffs, all 5 starters with 15 points or more since 1997. So there was involvement from everyone.
And to think about it, you know, no Van Fleet, you know, they're doing it without a legitimate point guard in tonight's game. You know, they depend on KD to handle the ball a lot. And a lot of times, you know, teams have gotten used to blitzing him, figuring out a way to get it out of his hands. Shepard, you know, he can be exposed. He's a great offensive player, but he can be exposed on the defensive end, as Marcus Smart has shown us. So, but get it without a legitimate point guard for them to be able to be active and find ways to, you know, put the ball in the bucket and get production. That says a lot about the collective effort of athletes that they have.
So right there, we're showing you some of the chippiness that was going on. That happened throughout the game. I mean, DeAndre Ayton got a flagrant 2. I didn't think that was necessary.
Absolutely,
I thought that was absolutely
a
flagrant 1. Then they kicked 2 more guys out of the games. I think it was Okogie and then
Noah.
It was Holiday and Theo.
Holiday and Thero. Yeah, and Thero got kicked out of the game. So it was getting a little wild. But listen, the Rockets, we're not playing like a team that was down 3-0 in terms of that cockiness and that chippiness, and I think the Lakers got to take that with them into Wednesday night. I mean, this series all of a sudden got real, right? You just hadn't seen it. You're seeing it across the board in the NBA playoffs. You just hadn't seen it yet in this series.
That's what they say. These little young Thundercats think they still got a chance, you know, and they do. And you just got to come out there with that energy and emotion. And we talked about it before. When you're down, you have a little bit more pep in your step. You have to match that energy. And the Lakers were matching that energy until that 3rd quarter. And then that's when they just, you know, all the wind went out the sails. And for me, you got to figure out how to get back home now, because sometimes with teams like this that are young and don't know any better.
That's what I'm saying today, too.
Is when young teams are, oh, we won 1. We can win 4 in a row, or 3 in a row, or 2 in a row. And so the Lakers got to come in. They got to punch first. That's one of the things I always tell. Don't wait to get hit. You hit first, and then you figure it out from there. And so when they get home, the Lakers got to hit first. They got to play downhill and make the Rockets play uphill, because if they don't, they're going to have to get back on the plane, travel 3 hours to H-Town, and it's going to be hard, because KD might be back, even though AR might be back, but you don't want a team to get momentum.
That's the big unknown, because if KD messes around and come back, then you're like you're putting yourself in jeopardy. But you know, the Houston Rockets right now, they're like a baby rattlesnake. You know, they bite you and they don't know when to stop biting. They just release all their venom, as they did tonight. They know they're going back to LA. They got a little physical, tried to start something to let the Lakers know that, look, we're not going to back down. So with that in mind, the Lakers got to regroup, maybe have a conversation on the way back on the plane, because you can't allow them to come in with that attitude and control the momentum of the game, offensive rebounds, you know, turnovers. You can't allow that to happen again at home.
But if I would have told